Is it LeBron?
Oh, my God. It's like you knew. Who led the Cavs past the Pacers yesterday. They will now face the #1 seed Raptors. Afterwards, James was asked about this upcoming series against Toronto. Here he is.
They're a great basketball team. Kudos to Dwayne Casey. First of all, they got like 10 to 12 guys that can come in and produce every single night. And we know the head of the snake is DeRozan and Lowry. But those guys off the bench, they come in with the same attitude and the same confidence as the starters.
You mentioned it earlier, the depth of the Raptors team. What do you think?
I feel like shots were fired.
You think so?
Right, so we just talked about a guy who's had to lead his team every game, didn't have a 20-point score, and he goes, the first thing he says is not DeRozan, it's not about Lowry, it's they got like 10 to 12 guys that can come in and produce. And if you finish the interview, he goes on to say that those guys come in and play like starters. If I'm LeBron's teammates, I'm thinking, man, we need to step up. Maybe they could talk about us like that in the next series.
Well, listen, if they didn't already know that, then I'm not sure exactly what anyone needs to tell them. And I'll go back to this, Dylan. We are celebrating a bunch of guys in this series who in no game out of the 7, no one on the Cavaliers besides LeBron James scored 20 points. And even yesterday, when they did just enough to win, and I would emphasize the word just, everyone besides LeBron on the Cavaliers shot 16 for 49 from the floor, which is obviously under 33%. So, yes, the biggest difference in this series is the depth.
When you have the best player in the game, Greeny, all you need is 1 or 2 other players to contribute at some point of the game, and you find ways to win on your home floor. That's what they did. Tristan Thompson, double-figure score, double-figure rebound, did all of the energy things, blocked a big shot at the end, set screens when needed. Kevin Love, when he went down, made a couple of shots. George Hill played really well. He had 11 points.
But how frustrating is that? It took you 7 games to figure that out.
It can be frustrating, but the journey started when they fell to the 4 seed. 4 or 5 seed matchups are close. That's why I went into the series. I said it's going to be a 7-game series.
It's an excellent point. That game they lost against Philadelphia on the Friday night, right before the season ended. You guys were in here doing countdown, and that game is the reason that they are now the 4 instead of the 3. So they're, instead of playing a depleted Boston team, they're playing a healthy and rested #1 seed in Toronto. That could wind up having made a very big difference.
Let's talk Rockets Jazz, shall we? Game 1 happened, officially underway in that series. James Harden with a nice 41 in Houston's victory. Look, Jazz looked pretty sluggish. I can't imagine why. They wrapped up their series.
Day and a half.
I know, right? They wrapped up Friday night. Pretty emotional. Here they are playing a fresh Rockets team on a Sunday afternoon, Jalen. How much of this loss will you chalk up to schedule?
It's going to be the same thing tonight when the Boston Celtics play against Philly without Jaylen Brown. You can consider that scheduling loss because the Celtics just played. This is the exact same thing. Utah's playing without Rubio, and they're going against Houston, who's beaten them 5 times this year, all by double figures. This is a terrible matchup for the Utah Jazz because now you won't see Gobert and Favors able to dominate the paint because the Rockets spread the floor. And they bring those guys away from the bucket.
I agree with you, and I want to add one other thought, because I saw a lot of people on Twitter yesterday while that game was going on making the point, this is unfair to Utah, it's unfair to the Jazz. You know what? This is why wrapping up a playoff series as quickly as it can should be beneficial. It should matter. It's not unfair. Houston took care of their business. Utah had every opportunity to close out Oklahoma City. In Game 5, they were up 25 points in the 3rd quarter. If they took care of business that night, they wouldn't have had this kind of turnaround.
Well, absolutely, but you got to understand when you come into this series, you want to try to win one of the games in Houston. You call this game a wash maybe because of the scheduling. Now you have to come back, look at the film, find ways that you can try to defend James Harden because you know one-on-one you don't stand a chance, especially listening to how Jaden explains how he exploits people no matter what size in the isolation game.
And that isolation game, Ryan, while it's a joy to watch, and James Harden has been magnificent, and Chris Paul did have 7 turnovers, but he's been great all year. That ain't how you beat the Golden State Warriors.
That's what you guys were talking about yesterday.
Oh, man, I'm going to tell you guys right now, we're going to break it down when they play. If their goal against the Golden State Warriors is to ISO at the top of the floor, where the defense can basically be a 1-2-2, boxes and elbows, we're going to live with the isolation shot. We're going to get every rebound and grab and go. This is going to be a problem when they play against the Warriors.
When you played like that all year and been so successful, is it fathomable that they can change that, though, to try to beat the Golden State Warriors, or do you just go with what got you there?
It's unique because we live in an era of pace and space, and teams want to launch the threes. The Rockets shot more threes this year than twos. They're the first team to ever do that. But they ISO. The Golden State Warriors helped usher in this era with the Splash Brothers of teams that can win the championship and shoot the threes. But they look vastly different how they play. The Golden State Warriors are predicated on ball movement, cutting, getting 4 all-stars involved. This Houston team has morphed into an isolation squad, which is great because James Harden is terrific at it. But it's not a recipe when you're not moving the ball when you're playing against the Warriors.
I think I'm going to take advantage of this moment I have up here with 3 fashionistas such as yourself, because I don't know when else I'm going to have a chance to ask anybody else about this particular OOTD.
I got 17 O's that dress like that right now, and they've been doing it. This ain't new, James Harden. You ain't starting nothing.
Hey, you know what, Beans?
This part right here. Oh, hello.
Oh, wow.
Silky PJ.
So here's the thing about James Harden. He actually taking somebody's style.
Whose style is it?
That's my main man, Romy Brown from Martin.
Yeah.
That's who that is. That's Romy Rowe.
Hey, it all depends on the shoes, though. You know, Romy Rowe used to wear Stacey Adams.
No doubt about
it.
And the thing about that look, you got to have on the hard bottom with no socks.
Absolutely. My Uncle Richard been dressing like that, though. He comes to every cookout the exact same outfit. I'm not going to let James Harden rock this to NBA playoffs and y'all feel like he's a fashionista.
Oh, I think
my
he's
Uncle
still
Richard
a fashionista.
Ben started that.
Well, maybe
back when he was rocking
the
the shag. No, I'm upset that we are putting this on TV like it's new. Uncle Rich, I got you.
I think it looks
I ain't going to let it happen.
My main man, Romy Brown.
All right.
Sorry.
Let's do basketball again. Yeah, you really took that harder than I thought you would. Pelicans Warriors. KD, Draymond went off in the second quarter of their Game 1 victory. Golden State, 76 points in the first half. And after this one, Steve Kerr said, yeah, he expects Steph back for Game 2, Jalen. Are you worried at all, I can't even believe I'm asking this, about reintroducing him into the lineup?
I'm not worried about reintroducing Steph to the lineup because what makes the Golden State Warriors unique, unlike the Houston Rockets, is their 2 best players can function and be efficient without dominating the ball.
Yeah.
So Steph moves, he cuts, he's a part of the action. He's not a ball-dominant point guard. And unlike the Jazz and Rubio, unlike Boston and Jaylen Brown, Steph Curry returns to the lineup for a team that's already rolling.
Right.
This is trouble for the Pelicans.
Well, that was I wanted to ask you that. Because, please tell me this is going to be a series because I fell in love with New Orleans in the first round. They were fun to watch. They had a week to prepare for this. They wanted the Warriors. They said it man by man. We want our shot at Golden State. And then they got obliterated in Game 1 without Steph Curry. Now, please tell me this is going to be a series.
This is going to be, if Steph Curry is healthy, this is going to be a gentleman's sweep. The Golden State Warriors in 5. And you know how much I love what the Pelicans have done.
Yeah.
But here's what I want you to know. This is where you miss Boogie Cousins.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. I thought about this in the first half.
So now if you have Boogie Cousins out there, when they putting people like Zaza Pachulia and JaVale McGee in the game and David West at his advanced age and Kevin Looney, he's going to dominate that matchup. And Draymond Green, when he's playing against Anthony Davis, 21 possessions, only 1 basket by Davis when guarded by Draymond Green.
But wouldn't they go small? If you had those 2 guys playing together for New Orleans, I would assume Golden State wouldn't play the same guys against them.
Yeah, it's a style. It's a style thing. If the game is close or the Pelicans are up, we go into that post.
Right.
If we get behind, then we got to chase and follow you. It all depends on the score of the game.
Early on in the game, the Pelicans were shooting great from the field. They were playing defense, but they were being out-rebounded so bad and outplayed on the defensive end that the score continued to rise. I'm sitting in my house and thinking to myself, they have no chance. If you can play that solid early on, but you can't stop them from getting open buckets, if you're the Pelicans, you have no shot in this series.
And what people are sleeping on about the defending world champions, just like Cleveland, because we're discussing it, they keep changing the starting lineup basically every series.
Nick Young.
Until Steph gets back in the game.
Nice.
Once Steph comes back, it's going to be trouble.
Before we move on, I want to touch on Celtics, Bucks. Boston eliminated Milwaukee in 7. Specifically Giannis, though. He had a decent stat line if you look at the box score. But if you go a little deeper, he was not that assertive in Game 7. He had only 74 touches in this decisive game, 14 fewer than his average in Games 1 through 6, and 23 fewer than Game 6. And remember, after Game 5, he said, I need to be more aggressive. It looked like you reverted back to that. What happened?
If you're a Bucks fan, this loss is head-scratching for your future because it left me a little dusted and disgusted. Here's why. Their 7 leading scorers from this year are all returning next year. So that means whoever they were counting on is already on the squad. Okay? Greek Freak has become one of the top players in the league. You bring in Bledsoe, who played really well. Chris Middleton has emerged as an all-star level player. So you think you're pretty covered there. Brogdon is the returning rookie of the year in the NBA. Thon Maker showed that while he was a top 10 pick, he blocked 5 shots. So they have their core already. And you lose to the Boston Celtics. It's playing without Kyrie, Hayward, and then Jaylen Brown goes out during the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you as excited about the core group that you have, and they need a coach.
And to me, it's about Giannis. If you watch that game on Saturday night, there were long stretches where every once in a while he would get the ball and you'd say, oh, that's right, he's on this team.
Right.
Like, that should never happen with a player that some people say he's the #1 guy to build around in the whole sport.
Right. But you said they need a coach. Can a coach be part of that, though, Jill? And can a coach in the Game 7 draw plays or make sure he's getting the touches that he needs that makes him aggressive?
Absolutely, and that's what they got to do. We saw it with LeBron when I did the breakdown. Sometimes you got to just get in the post. We're going to give you the ball and let everybody else figure it out. And so now he can find a way to kick it out to the shooters, but they weren't just isolating. But also, I have to do this. We always underrate Al Horford. He's really good. He played great. They were at home. He's an all-star.
I feel like we rate him well.
He's the only guy from last year to this year is a returning starter. And regardless of all of the injuries, all of the lineup changes, he's been steady as a rock.
And Jason Tatum is going to be a
him.
star. Jason Tatum is awesome. If they trade him, they're out of their minds.
Correct. I agree with you. You keep him in.
But what if you get Kawhi?
If I could keep Jaylen Brown and Tatum, I wouldn't even get him up for Kawhi Leonard.
There you go. Boom. That could be a hot take. Thursday night, we'll be here. Eastern Conference semifinal action on ESPN. Cavs.